In today's video, I'm going to be exploring three very simple practices that can help greatly impact your sleep as well as your recovery from stress and trauma. Welcome to the Holistic Life Navigation channel. I'm your host, Luis Mujica. I'm a somatic educator and nutritionist, and I'm here to explore every aspect of life through the lens of somatic psychology, nutrition, and philosophy. Let's dive in. What's interesting about stress and trauma is we see them as events and we see them as mental issues. So when someone is having stress or they're going through a traumatic experience or they went through one, we tend to call the event stressful. And then we tend to go to therapy and talk about the event over and over in our minds, which just keeps bringing it up in our bodies. The interesting thing about stress and trauma is it's not something that happened in the past or happened in the event. It's something that happened in your body. So even though it's 30, 40 years ago, it might be sitting in your body still. And the patterns, especially the patterns that emerge from the traumatic or stressful events, they are probably still your daily habits, which in themselves are stressful. So even if the event itself is dislodged, let's say, or you've worked on it or you're aware of it, the way you're living might still be a reverberation of the things you went through. This is why I find it so important to focus on sleep. Sleep is your body's innate sense of recovery. It is a break from the world of taking in information. It is a break from movement. It is a break from consciousness. And really good restful sleep allows your nervous system and your brain and your adrenals and your organs to repair from stress. Whether the stress comes from food, whether it comes from illness, or whether it comes from certain emotional or physical events you've experienced. So let's dive into some of these. Number one, waking up early. Waking up early is very important here, and I'm going to explain why. The first thing is, what do I mean by early? I mean sunrise. So wherever you live in the world, look up when the sun rises and set an alarm for that time. Or have an open window if you're not in a city where the light of the sun can get into your eyelids while you're sleeping to wake you up, hopefully. If that doesn't work, you'll have to use an alarm. Now, why do we want to wake up with the sunrise? We want to wake up with the sunrise because the body starts going through beautiful hormonal shifts when it wakes up with the sun. And sleep is actually a hormonal issue insomnia is a hormonal issue because the body isn't producing enough melatonin, your adrenaline isn't settling down for the day, your adrenals aren't calming down, and your body's staying wired and fixed and alert into the evening. So you're unable to settle into an unconscious state of sleep, which is where we recover. Waking up early starts to marry your body back to sun cycles, which are very important. Our bodies were always bound to the sun and moon cycles until electricity. So if you think about the history of our existence, it's only been the last century or so we've been able to divorce ourselves from these cycles of the sun that naturally tell the body when it's time to get up and when it's time to start resting. These techniques I'm going to give you will help your body get back to that. So set your alarm to wake up at sunrise, and the first thing you're to do is wake up, drink some water, maybe lemon water, and go on a 20-minute walk. And I want you to be on a walk in nature with no headphones, no music, no screens, just you and the environment around you. If you live in a city, go to a park. If you live in the mountains, walk out your back door. If you have a beautiful yard you love to walk around or a garden, walk around that for 20 minutes. You don't have to run. You don't have to walk uphill. You don't have to get your cardio up. It's just about walking, moving, being in the world as the sun is rising. This is going to have a huge impact on your health. And what's interesting is most of us will wake up and grab coffee. Instead of that, we're grabbing water or lemon water and then moving our bodies. You're going to have a natural stimulant effect from moving the body. Just walking can start stimulating your bowels to have a bowel movement. It massages the internal organs. It stretches your hips from sleeping all night. It gets your spine aligned. And it slowly increases your adrenaline, the production of adrenaline from your adrenals, which gives you a boost in clarity, a sense of aliveness, and focus. So this is why we're going to begin our day rising at sunrise and going for a 20-minute walk. Number two, eliminate or reduce caffeine and or have it after breakfast. This is all very important. So one issue we have with sleeping at night begins with the beginning of the day. When you start your day with caffeine, you start your day stimulating yourself, which means your body makes a lot of dopamine, gets a lot of adrenaline, gets very hyper aroused and very clear and very focused and motivated upon rising, which is kind of a high bar that you're setting for the rest of your day. So your body throughout the day is going to keep expecting that. But whenever you have a burst of something, you have a drop. So within a couple hours after that initial burst of excitement and energy and motivation, you're going to start feeling a slight depression coming in. You're going to feel a little foggy. You're going to feel a little groggy. You might get moody, and you're going to naturally reach for more caffeine or sugar. Both of these are stimulants. Both of these produce a great amount of dopamine for clarity, for excitement, for motivation, and for mood stabilization. So if you're starting your day boosting your dopamines through caffeine, you have to maintain that high you created upon waking. This is why we want to start to reduce or eliminate caffeine. My favorite way is just to start by cutting whatever you drink in half. So whatever the amount, if it's this much coffee through the day, you have half that amount. If it's a cup, whatever the cup looks like, not even 8 ounces, but just a cup, half of that. And you can do half decaf, half calf if you want, so you can have the same amount of fluid. But start reducing your caffeine intake to start reducing the amount of stimulation your body's going through upon rising. Now, if you're unable to eliminate coffee for any reason, some good reasons would be you work a really demanding job, or you work 2 jobs, or you're a caregiver, or you're going through something particularly stressful, you might need that extra boost. You might need that extra stimulation. That's okay. The whole purpose of stimulation, the whole purpose of caffeine is to push you past your boundaries. When your body's tired and groggy and depressed and unmotivated, that's your body having a boundary. It's saying, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. I'm unable to do this. And caffeine comes in to say, well, I'm going to help you do this. I'm going to push you through this. And so sometimes in life, we need that push. So I'm not being impractical to tell everyone to stop drinking coffee and you'll have a great life. That's not realistic. But what you can do is reduce the amount you drink. And even if you don't reduce the amount you drink coffee after eating breakfast. And I don't mean a donut, I mean a plate of breakfast. Some kind of protein, some kind of fiber, some kind of green, or some kind of vegetable, ideally. If you can't go that far, just start with whatever you like, but have your coffee after that. Why? Because your body will be nourished with fibers and proteins and fats and vitamins and minerals. And when you have your coffee on top of that, it releases much more slowly into the body, so it's a little less stimulating. You're still going to get stimulation, but it's not going to create as much of a crash as if you had it on an empty stomach or if you had it with dessert or with sugar. I will talk more in a future video about the ideal breakfast for the adrenals, but for now, let's move on to step 3. Step 3, you want to finish your final meal of the day at 6 p.m. or 4 hours before you fall asleep. Why? Because you don't want to eat 1 hour before sleeping, or else while you're sleeping, your body's working hard to digest your food. Typically, it takes about 4 hours for the stomach to empty and start really digesting the food you took in. If you eat at 6 o'clock and you go to bed at 10 o'clock, your body has now released the food from the stomach, it started digesting in the intestines, and when you go to sleep, your body isn't using all its energy to digest. When you eat late, you tend to wake up groggy because your body's working really hard while you're sleeping. So you might sleep 8 hours, but 4 of those hours went to digesting your food. We want all 8 hours to go toward recovery, or all 6 hours or 5, however many you sleep. We want that to go to recovering your body, not your body having to do more work while you're in an unconscious state. It may take a little time for your body to be okay with this if you're used to eating really late. So go slow, and if you need a snack, have some kind of a baked potato or an apple or a fruit. But for now, really start moving your dinner time up. So when you get to bed, your stomach is empty and you'll experience much more recovery while you're sleeping. There's actually a 4th thing. There's one more thing I need to give you. The 4th thing that's very important is that 2 hours before you go to sleep. So if you tend to sleep at around 10 o'clock, let's say 11, 12, whatever it is, 2 hours before then, stop watching things on a screen. So if you're watching me right now, turn me off. I'll see you tomorrow. Stop watching things on screens. Don't have electric lights on. Use candlelight or use a very, very low, soft yellow light or like a Himalayan salt lamp, something very low and dim. 2 hours before bed. This is a game changer because when you start to get this blue light and this bright electronic light in your eyes, your body stops making melatonin. Your body stops preparing itself hormonally to come down so you can go unconscious and have deep, restful sleep. So 2 hours before bed, no electronics, no electric lights unless they're extremely dim. This is the greatest edge for people I've worked with over the years. This is the one step even harder than caffeine because it means you have to be with yourself or with the people around you. You can't zone out with TV. You can't zone out by looking through YouTube or Instagram and scrolling through reels. You have to feel where you are in your body. And I find that fascinating as a trauma therapist because when you're not with your body all day long by distracting it, guess when you're with your body? When you finally lay down and close your eyes. And this is one reason why so many people remain insomniatic, if that's even a word, and why they can't fall asleep because they have so much emotion and tension and feelings that haven't been felt because they've been avoiding their bodies all day. So when we're quiet and still and in the darkness, guess what? We anchor into our somatic experience and we feel the sensations we haven't been able to be with. So those 2 hours before bed are an amazing time to have little rituals of movement, of journaling, of singing, of playing an instrument if you play something, listening to very soft music that brings you into your heart and your body. Taking baths are one of my favorite things, and gazing, having one candle lit in a room and just gazing and staring off into space. Incredible practice for the body to start settling down and to feel where it is. And then by the time you go to bed, you might be in a place where you're actually able to settle down and rest because you've had 2 hours now to unfold from the day of stimulation and avoidance. The final thing I want to say is don't expect miracles. I don't teach anything with a guarantee. I don't trust anyone that teaches with guarantees because every body is extremely unique. Every single body is mysterious. And we have ideas of what causes what. But I've been humbled for many years in private practice with clients to learn all the different ways different bodies respond to something. One protocol I would give someone that was like life-changing for them in a matter of weeks did nothing even for months with somebody else. So you really have to learn your own body. These are guidelines, these are techniques, these are experiments, things to try and to see how you respond. So don't even think of the goal being sleeping or suddenly not having stress or trauma. Be curious as to what arises when I do this. Maybe you just do step 1. Maybe you just do step 4. Just pick one step. If all 4 feel way too overwhelming, start with 1 and see what does my body do while I do this. One rule I am going to give is give yourself at least 3 weeks. If you have a lifetime or many decades or years of insomnia under your belt, you have a hormonal imbalance because not sleeping will imbalance your hormones. It's not as easy as in a couple days I'm going to catch up on my sleep by doing these techniques. Your body's relearning something that it lost through avoidance and stimulants and other practices and habits you developed over the years, especially habits we have to remediate stress and trauma. So give yourself time. Give yourself 3 weeks of doing 1 or all 4 of these every single day. And if nothing changes, please let me know in the comments and I will do a video just for those of you that say nothing changed, and I'll try some other things out. Okay? So take your time with that and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching today's episode. Please like and subscribe if you found it useful, and let me know in the comments what you want me to cover next.